Oops.
All right. Oh,
And okay, we are recording and we are live. So
all right. Thank you, Amy. We'll go ahead and call the May 18th regular meeting of the Franklin City Schools Board of Education to order. Dr. Sander, are you calling the roll?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you can call the roll, please.
Mr. Nipper? Mr. Sizemore?
I'm here.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Here.
Mr. Fleming?
Here.
Mrs. Rupert? Wolfenbarger?
Here.
Okay, good deal. Sorry about that. Okay.
All right. And now, Amy, if you can help us with the flag and we'll do the pledge.
and give me just a minute. Maybe. Maybe not today. Maybe we're not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not today. All I want to do there, you have to select the right screen. And
We ready?
Mhm.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
of the
United
United
States
States
of America.
to the
to
republic
the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty.
with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And next up, we have adoption of the agenda. Before we move on, are there any additions or deletions?
Yes, I do want to make sure that we deleted item 4A. That contract will not be ready until approximately the 22nd of May. It is due on June 8th. We have a board meeting on June the 8th. So they are allowing us, OFCC is allowing us to turn that in on Tuesday the 9th, the morning of Tuesday the 9th. So we're okay with that to have that on next board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sander. Any other discussion about the agenda? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mrs. Raleigh is second.
Second.
Mr. Sizemore? Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore?
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have public participation. And I don't believe we have anyone on our call specifically. Any comments, Ms. Eastep?
Nope.
All right, then we will move on to recommendations of the superintendent.
Okay, the first item is the MOU with the cross-country coach, and that is simply approving a separate cross-country coach for the boys and a separate cross-country coach for the girls. We did have a first read on this on May the 4th. We had a presentation by Mr. Bales, and FEA did approve this and sign that MOU.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sander. Yeah, this is on our agenda for at least the second time, maybe the third. I don't recall exactly, but is there any discussion about that? All right, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the MOU as presented.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Fleming, and is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Raleigh, Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore?
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
Next, we have a couple new items. One is a first, both of them are first reads, but I would take action on the first item. The first item is Karina Moser's resignation effective July 31st, 2020. Basically, her husband was very happy for her. I hate to lose her, but happy for her. Her husband got a new job out in California, so they'll be moving over the summertime out to Silicon Valley. And it's close to her one son that's just now found out that they're expecting their first grandchild out there. She's got two here, but they'll be the first grandchild out there.
All right, and Dr. Sander, are you asking for action on this one?
If you don't mind, we can go ahead and go with that.
Any objection to that? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I believe it was Mr. Sizemore first. Is there a second?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Nipper, second. Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper? Mr. Sizemore?
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
The next is a first read. This is new to the agenda. This is a recommendation to hire Tessa Stein as an art physician for 1 year. That would take the 1 year leave of absence replacement for Stephanie Strong, which we approved earlier this month. And if that's okay, I can bring that back on June the 8th.
That's fine, Dr. Sander.
Okay. Next, would like to go with a consent agenda. I would ask for approval for items 6C through F. That includes the transfer of 2 certified teachers, and all these were discussed at the work session back on the 4th. And I know this will make for a quick agenda item, but I just want to say, for the record, since we are on the record, I appreciate the board's work on this. We spent quite a bit of time on these issues at our work session. And that's what's making this go rather quickly with these items since we hashed those out. But the first item is C through F, which is those 2 transfers. It's the administrator and the exempt salaries for next year. It's also the 3 non-renewal letters, non-renewal contracts. It's also the 1st and 2nd year contracts for teachers, the 1 2-year contracts for teachers.
All right, is there any discussion about items C through F? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Fleming, and is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sizemore, Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore?
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
Next is the a recommendation for a 1-year contract for Kaylee Bush for the 2020-2021 school year.
All right, and is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, chair will entertain a motion.
So
So moved.
moved. Second.
I think that was Mr. Nipper and second, Mrs. Raleigh. All right, Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore?
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
Next would be a 1-year contract for Megan Stacy for the 2021 school year. And once again, this first reading is on the 4th as well.
All right, any discussion before we move forward? All right, chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Fleming? Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Raleigh? And Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore?
Abstain.
Mrs. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger.
Yes.
Okay, the last item I have is consent agenda items for administrative contracts I through M. That would be for Mr. Roberts, Mrs. Nisi, Mrs. Truesdale, Mrs. Mallock, and Mrs. Centers, Ms. Centers. And all these items were discussed on May the 4th.
All right, any discussion? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is that Mr. Nipper?
Yes.
Yes.
And is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sizemore, Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper,
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore,
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh,
yes,
Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger.
Yes.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have the treasurer's portion of the agenda.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. If I could, let's see, look at the order we're in here. There is a resolution I don't see. All right, well, by consent, what I'd like to ask the board to approve the annual spending plan, and if you take a look at that, it kind of ties into the forecast, in which we, in the spring, adjust the revenues. So we now know our property taxes and our tangible personal property taxes, which came in very strong, in excess of $1 million, or at about $1 million, which offsets the $522,114 that we're being cut from the state. And I'm just tying that together with the forecast because it is relevant. Along with the minutes and financials, we have the checks and bills. We have the investment report, which I believe I mentioned last month or last meeting, that at the beginning of the month in April, we were at 1.4% in our investments. At mid-month, we were at 1%, and through mid-month, we were at 1%, and after that, we were at 10 basis points, which is 0.1% from mid-month to the end of the month, which is pretty substantial. So obviously, investments were not as strong as they have been in prior months. We also have the financial report, which is the bank reconciliation, which we might rename at our investment committee meeting. And then our minutes from the 27th of April and from May 4th. And then as required at the end of the year, and as I mentioned prior, that we have our financial forecast. Oh, there's the reimbursement resolution. Okay. So we have our financial forecast, and again, all we're doing is adjusting revenues because we know more now than we did earlier in the year. So not a substantial difference right now. We're projecting in excess of a $900,000 difference between revenues and expenditures. But if you look at the annual spending report, you'll see that revenue or expenditures are well under what's been appropriated. And so we'll have a much softer landing than what that appears. But I didn't want to affect any change on expenditures at this point in time. In item 7B, there's a first read for a resolution. And that resolution is called a reimbursement resolution. And it is just to give the board options as we go forward with this construction project. And it's something I like to do at this point in time because inevitably we may spend money prior to the debt being issued. Money for attorney costs, for surveys, for appraisals. And what this resolution does is it empowers the board with the ability to reimburse the PI fund, permanent improvement fund, or the general fund if there are any expenditures that are truly for the purpose that will be on the ballot for the bond issue. We don't have to, but it gives the board options in case we would like to. So it's a first read. I just wanted to put it before you so you could see if it made sense, and then I'll bring it to you in our meeting in June. So I would like to ask the board by consent agenda to approve those items and presentation, discussion, treasure item 7.
With the exception of the reimbursement resolution.
Right.
right, any questions or concerns about the items up on the consent agenda or otherwise about the resolution at this time? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mrs. Raleigh, and is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sizemore? Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper,
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore,
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh, Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Giuffre. All right, we don't have any unfinished business or any presentation or discussion, so we move on to reports and comments by individual board members. Mr. Nipper, you want to start us off?
No real comments. I'm not going to make comments this time.
All right, thank you. All right, and we'll move on to, I think it's Mrs. Raleigh, but I'm not sure.
No comments. Thank
All right,
you.
Mr. Sizemore?
Thank everybody for being on. I just also, seems like it's been a crazy 1 year in the calendar year. It was my daughter's first anniversary today. And so this time last year, that same weekend, we were graduating a bunch of seniors, obviously folks getting jobs and stuff. And it seems like it's been a long time, but also it's been crazy how slow some of this time has passed with all the stuff we're doing with distancing and distance learning, social distancing from everybody else. So I just appreciate everybody's efforts, and it's been a crazy year. So set a new bar for what crazy is, I guess. So, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sizemore. Mr. Fleming?
I'm just glad to see all these administrative contracts up here, bring all of our high caliber talent, keep them in the school district. So glad to have everyone back on staff here. That's all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fleming, and I'll keep it short as well. I want to just echo what Mr. Sizemore and Mr. Fleming said, and that's all I have for tonight. So with nothing left on the agenda, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So second,
Mr. Nipper first and Mr. Fleming second. Dr. Sander?
Mr. Nipper,
Yes.
Mr. Sizemore,
Yes.
Mrs. Raleigh,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
yes.
Mrs. Wolfenbarger.
Yes.
Okay, 6:20.